Welcome to The Real Heal. I am your host, Dr. Renee Wallenstein, also known as the Libidoologist. So if you're ready, let's get into it. I am so excited to have you on the show, Mahryah. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So this is going to be such a fun episode. I cannot wait to dive into all the juiciness around hair loss, thinning hair. But before we get into it, can you tell us who you are and how you got doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Mahryah Shain. I'm CEO over here at More Hair Naturally. And so here's how my personal journey into the field of hair loss happened. My entire family has hair loss. Every man in my family is bald. Period. I am thankful to have what I have, because I should be just a cue ball bald at this point in my life. So my father, back in the 90s, I'd say, started losing his hair, of course, like all the men in my family do, and he started to panic. Now, I was raised, and my parents were raised with the philosophy that, everything that you need for your body is in nature. Like our bodies, we are meant to survive. We are built to survive. And we have survived for millions of years in a synergistic relationship with nature and our environment. And our environment has provided for our bodies to be strong and to keep going forward. So we've always had that approach. Like if something's wrong, like let's figure out how to make our body stronger so our body can heal itself, because that's what bodies do. Is they're made to heal, they're made to move forward, they're made to progress.
Yep.
So when my father started losing his hair, he started looking around, and there wasn't really, the only thing that was really available were the same drug products that are available today that were released to the market in the 70s. And that was it. That was it. There were some home remedies. There was like rub onions on your head, things like that, which has a little validity now that I know more, than I did back then. Because the sulfur content in onions is great for your head and for your body, but you're never going to get what you need by rubbing an onion on your head.
And you're going to smell like an onion.
And you're just going to be stinky. Yeah, exactly. So he went down the drug route, and it was a little surprising, but that's what he did. He was panicking, how most people are when they start losing their hair. He started panicking, and so he went down the drug route, and he got very sick. He lost all of his energy. He started having body pains. He actually started growing breasts because it started messing with his hormone levels. And so we're like, whoa, no, this isn't cool. And so my mom's from Italy, and we have family in the Lake Como region who we're very close with. And so she called him, and they were talking, and they said, well, there's this little lab here in Italy that's doing all this stuff in the hair loss field, and it's all natural. And so she's like, oh, send us some. So they sent some over, and it started to get some results, and we became the North American distributors, basically, is what happened. So now we have this product from Italy, and we're the North American distributors of it, and it's great. It's getting results, but now that we're sort of grooved into it, and we're kind of like sort of discovering the field and learning, the results were working. It was helping, it was reducing shedding, and the hair was coming back, but it wasn't coming back strong enough, and it wasn't coming back thick enough, and it wasn't coming back just fast enough. And so we're like, okay, why is this happening? Why are we not getting like incredible results? Like, what's going on? And it seemed kind of ludicrous that there was no real developments in the field since the 70s. Like, science didn't just take a nap in the field of hair loss. They weren't just like, hair loss solved, like what's going on here? So we started researching medical journals from around the world. Like, why can't this be handled? We started finding amazing results that were happening in laboratory studies all over the world in the field of like stem cells, probiotics, amino acids, peptide complexes. There was all this really exciting things happening, but none of it was in products. And so at that point, we're like, well, what if we just put it all into one product? Is that even possible to do? And so we found a lab here in California, and we're like, listen, we want to make this product, and we want to take all these ingredients at their clinical strength. You know, we don't want just enough to say that it's in the product. We want it enough that we want the same strength that's getting the results in these lab studies.
Yep.
Can we put it all in one product? Is that even possible? And so it took a couple years, and our lab here in California found a way to do it, and we did it. And then going forward, and then we moved everything to California. And going forward from that part, all the products that were released, we sort of took that same approach of like, what is the specific problem that we're trying to solve? Then who is solving it in the world, in this field? Like, who's really solving it? Not just like who's giving us like, you know, old tales or folklore, like who's really doing it? And then how do we take those ingredients and make a product out of it? So that's where we're at now. And it's not like it's not a miracle. It's not miracle juice, you know? I mean, I wish it was. That's what we're shooting for. We're still shooting for miracle juice, but it's not there yet, you know? But it does, you know, because if the follicle's dead, the follicle's dead. You know, there's nothing that can be done at that point, you know, and you can tell a dead follicle by like a shiny scalp. But we're pretty darn good in terms of what we're accomplishing at this point, and we're really happy with it.
I love it. And your products actually work for women as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. We're actually our women clientele's rising. We're probably about like 45% women at this point. Yeah. The thing with women is that they take action faster than men. You know, they jump in there when there's an issue with their hair. It's just, and part of it is because it's an unfair perception that's put on them by society. And it just is. Like, a man can have a bald head and be thinning and be fine with it in terms of societal's view, or, you know, but a woman, unfortunately, there's more pressure in that area. So when a woman starts losing her hair, she tends to panic and she takes action, whereas a man will wait 10, 15 years, you know, sometimes longer before doing something about it. And because of that, women tend to get better results because there's less damage.
I love that. Yeah. Working with men and women in the clinical sense, I saw that as well. I usually saw women take action better than the men. So on so many levels, so what are some things that can cause either thinning hair or hair loss?
Yeah. Okay. So there's lots of things. There's vitamins, there's stress, there's menopause, there's hormonal changes, there's pregnancy, there's illnesses. Medications are a big factor. There's environmental toxins and environmental factors. All of those can cause hair loss. But the overall, like, the biggest reason is just genetics. That's the overall arcing. There's all these other factors that can and do cause hair loss, but I'd say 90% of the people that come to us, it's because of a genetic factor. But genetics it's not scary though, because it sounds scary because a lot of people just think genetics. That's it, end of the line, done deal. But here's how genetic hair loss happens, and I think it's important to know, because it's very easy to understand, and once you understand it, you can have a clear picture of how to solve it, and or what actions you can take to help it, I should say. So when our bodies break down testosterone, the male hormone testosterone, it creates a byproduct called DHT. Now, that is generally just excreted through the body. It's not a big deal. As far as we know, it's not a big deal. It's just excreted through the body. However, when that molecule passes by the hair follicle, it gets stuck in a little DHT receptor site, which for a visual would be a pothole. So it gets stuck in this little pothole. And as more and more DHT gets stuck in these potholes on the receptor site, it begins to cut the blood flow off to the follicle, and the follicle gets weaker and weaker, and then eventually dies. Now,
Mm.
the inherited trait are these potholes. So that's what you inherit. You're not inheriting hair loss. You're inheriting these potholes on the follicle. So the hair loss really comes into play. It's a balance between how many of the potholes you've inherited. I say potholes is very unscientific, but it's a
Mm.
great visual, and it's
Yeah.
so clear and easy to understand. And at
Yep.
the end of the day, that's what matters, not
Yep.
terms. Terms don't matter.
Yep.
Understanding matters. So you have so what you inherit are these little potholes. So it's a balance between the potholes and the amount of testosterone you produce, because the testosterone in turn is creating the DHT as your body breaks it down. So you could have tons of these potholes, but very little DHT in your body. You know, in which case you're not going to experience hair loss till much later in life, which is the case with women generally, because they have a lot less testosterone than men. So that's why their hair loss takes a long time to catch up with them, because it takes a long time for enough DHT to latch onto the follicle to really cause an impact. But you could have very few of these potholes and a ton of testosterone and a ton of DHT being produced, and you'll still have hair loss. So it's a balance between the two.
Got it. Yeah.
Now, our goal, like how we like to approach it, is our goal is to get the DHT off the follicle. We don't believe in messing with hormone levels. We don't believe in messing with your body's makeup, because it's all synergistic. It all works together. And if you move one little element or change one little element, it's going to have a ripple effect through the whole body. And we don't even understand, that science still to this day doesn't understand, based on the things that they find acceptable in terms of reactions to your body. You know what I mean? So what we like to do is we get the DHT off the follicle. We do that using a very, very highly concentrated medical grade of hyaluronic acid, which is found in the joints and the eyeballs. And it's very lubricating. A lot of skin creams have it. And what that does is it coats the follicle, and the DHT just slides off. And then the blood starts flowing back to the follicle. So the follicle starts getting all the nutrients it needs from the blood. And at the same time, we start bombarding that follicle with stem cells, probiotics, amino acids. So we're really building it up from the bottom with the blood, and the top from all the stem cells and peptide complexes and proteins. So we're really fortifying it so it can start to produce its own strong, healthy hair again.
I love that. I love that you're just, that you studied. I had no idea that's how the hair loss occurs. And it's interesting because as you're talking, there's conditions in women called polycystic ovarian syndrome, whereby, they tend to be more androgen dominant, which is like a testosterone type of picture.
Right.
And one of the side effects of having that condition is hair loss and male pattern baldness, which totally makes sense. So, I think from that perspective, using your products and naturally trying to help her nutrition to reverse the PCOS would obviously be the best bet, right?
Right.
So how does this happen in menopause? Because I know, relatively speaking, as women enter menopause, with all of the sex hormones, testosterone, relatively speaking, is a little bit higher, in relation to estrogen and progesterone. But is that the same mechanism because she's converting more to DHT? How does that work?
Yeah, it's the same mechanism. That's why, it's because there's that spike.
Okay.
And it's that spike that's causing it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's because like you're going along at one level, and then there's a sudden jump, and that sudden jump produces the more DHT. So all of a sudden, all this DHT latches onto the follicle.
Yeah. And this is why women that take exogenous testosterone, sometimes at high enough doses, perhaps could get some hair loss as well.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I've never seen that. I've seen more like, and some supplements as well can actually do that.
Sure.
The adrenal supplements can actually boost testosterone. And I've seen, the worst I've ever seen is oily skin, more acne, like breakouts, but I've really never seen the extreme of male pattern baldness. So that we know we're really in trouble if we get that with testosterone.
And some things though too, like your adrenals are incredibly important, and it's incredibly important to keep your adrenals strong and healthy. And if somebody needs to take an adrenal supplement, then
Absolutely.
that's top priority. They need to do that. But
Yep.
then at the same time, if they are experiencing like thinning because of that, which is very, we haven't come across, like, it's more of a
Yep.
theoretical thing, but
Yep.
we haven't really come across that. But
Yep.
if they did, they would just, our products, since they're topical and they're not entering the bloodstream,
Yeah.
it's not going to interfere with the effect of that.
Well, and I do know some women, I've actually recommended for someone who don't want to take testosterone to naturally increase your own testosterone by taking some supplements that support your adrenals as well.
Yeah.
But what I love about your products is that it's not interfering with the hormones. It's just, like you said, buffering that little, what do you call it? Not pothole, the pothole,
Yeah, the
like,
pothole.
to
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
get them off. So,
Yeah, yeah.
we're not doing anything and, to disrupt the hormones. We're just trying to, at the site of where it's potentially interfering with your hair, we're trying to take
Right.
care of that. I love that. So
Exactly.
what about stress, the association of stress? So talking about adrenals,
Stress is
same time.
huge.
Yeah. You want to talk
Stress
about
is
that a little bit?
Yeah, stress is huge. It's a major factor
Mhm.
in hair loss. And it catches up to you too. It's not instant. It's not like I've had a very stressful month. It's like I have a very stressful month, and then it's about a 2-month window, and then you'll start to catch it. The hair loss starts to catch up, and the shedding starts to catch up. The good thing about stress-related hair loss is if it's caught early,
Mhm.
it can absolutely be helped. It's
Mhm.
not it's not a long condition. If you don't if you don't do something about it and it's continuous and ongoing, eventually the follicle is just going to get weaker, 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 and weaker. But since it is a stress related issue, if you can get the stress, calmed a little bit,
Mhm.
it's, I wouldn't say the goal. I mean, ultimately, yeah, you want it all out of your life, but if you could just
Manage it. Yeah.
calm it a little bit, and then do something to fortify, the side effects of it, then
Mhm.
it can come back and it can be helped.
So is it a hormonal basis, or is it more like a telogen effluvium where it just all sheds at once?
It's
Like what?
everything. It's
Okay.
everything because it throws your body into like pure panic mode. And so
Mhm.
everything, it just, yeah, it just sets everything off.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I always say to describe stress, it's like your body's just trying to survive. So anything that's unnecessary, including
Yeah,
hair growth,
yeah,
halts, right? Because like you don't digest, because if you're trying to conserve your energy to run from a tiger, like
right.
now's not the time to digest your food. So you're constipated, you don't ovulate, so your hormones are all off. Like it's like a vicious cycle, and it all starts at the top with this extreme stress. And I think, and like you said, like I always say, I can't take your stress away, but we can learn on ways to help manage it so it doesn't have such effects on your body, because the effects are very real. And look at this, all the way down to your hair. So
It's so true. And the thing, like that fight or flight, like that's meant to last like 5 minutes,
yeah,
10 minutes. That's
yeah,
not to last to that's not meant to last months,
exactly.
sometimes even longer.
That's why I say, cute stress is a good thing, but not this chronic 24/7 stress that
Yeah.
so many people are experiencing nowadays. So, I'm sure we both agreed, like our internal health is really important for our hair. I mean,
Yeah.
the genetic component's a factor, but a lot of times you can probably modify a little bit of that by your lifestyles choices, your nutrition. What foods are beneficial for our hair, for our hair growth?
Well, there's good proteins,
Okay.
healthy fats, the things you would think. Good
Yeah.
proteins, healthy fats, lots of minerals, lots of minerals basically.
So lots
Like,
of produce, fruits, veggies with
yeah,
antioxidants and vitamins, minerals. So real food.
yeah, real food, real food. I mean, like salmon's great for your hair.
Mhm. Mhm.
But nowadays salmon
Mhm.
has a mercury content, which is awful for your hair.
Mhm.
It kind of works. So proportions of salmon, small
Yeah.
quantities. But
And
like, yeah, health, just real foods. No, stay away from processed sugars, processed foods, fried foods. All the stuff you would think is bad for you is bad for you. It just is. If you're gonna eat bread, try to eat bread that has like water, flour, salt, yeast,
Mhm.
period. You know what I mean? Try to eat those breads if you
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
you know?
Totally agree. Yeah. So like again, nutrition has an effect even on your hair. Like people always say, "Oh, it's just gut health. It's just this." I'm like, no, you have no. Yes, it affects your gut health, but absorption of those nutrients, vitamins, minerals, is really
Yeah,
important. And so I assume also when you talked about toxins, environmental toxins, like heavy metals probably impact
heavy metals are a big deal.
hair loss. Okay,
Yeah, they definitely affect hair loss for sure. Um, it's the yeah, the mercury is very bad for hair. It's very
gotcha.
bad for it's very I mean, it's bad for everything in your body,
Yeah,
but it's bad for hair. But the thing with thinning hair though is if someone's hair is thinning, the DHT has to be addressed.
yeah.
And that's not going to be that issue itself will not be solved by vitamins,
Hmm.
and by diet. The diet and the vitamins are I think they're essential,
Hmm.
for our bodies, especially nowadays, in our current environment, our current food states and stuff like that, and what we're
Yep.
producing and what's available. Supplements are super important,
Hmm.
and that's going to get everything working well in your body and put you in a position to grow, great strong hair. And you want to be in that position to do that. But if the DHT is blocking the blood flow, you know, it'll help some because the blood coming to it, it's going to be a lot richer and a lot better, but you're not going to be getting enough to see like the shedding stop and the fullness coming back.
Yeah, got it. So when people are out there looking at their shampoos, like what are some things that we should be on the lookout for when it comes to like hair products? Like what are more of the not so healthy things in our hair products that are potentially contributing to this problem?
Yeah, there's tons of them. Tons of them. Pretty much anything that you buy on the supermarket shelf, it's going to be bad. Because most of those products have detergents, they have
Mhm.
very harsh chemicals, they have a lot of additives that don't need to be there. They have
Mhm.
foaming agents whose sole purpose is to make bubbles. None of this stuff is good for your skin. None of
Mhm.
it is good for your body, and none of it is good for your hair. In fact, what it does is it puts you into this cycle of perpetual unhealthiness, unhealthy
Mhm.
hair. Because what happens is okay, so like I said, our bodies are meant to thrive. We are meant to live. We are meant to survive. So when you start to put something on your hair that's supposed to like maybe cut down on oil or,
Mhm.
something like that, what happens is it cuts down the oil on your hair, right? But we're supposed to have a certain amount of oil on our scalp and on
Mhm.
our skin. Our bodies are supposed to have a certain amount of healthy oil there. So when your body senses that, oh, this area is dry, we're missing the oil content, your body starts to produce excess oil because it goes into repair mode. So
Mhm.
so you put this shampoo on and you're trying to get all the oil out, or it has these harsh detergents that dry your scalp out. Now your hair, your body's saying, oh wait, we need oil on our scalp because
Yeah.
it's super dry. So it starts producing excess oil. Then you do the shampoo again, takes all the oil away. And then your body starts panicking. So now you're producing more oil because your body's trying to rebalance itself. And then
Mhm.
it becomes this perpetual state
Yeah.
of super oily hair because your body's trying to solve a problem, and you keep trying to solve it with this detergent, and your body is just trying to solve it the way the body does. I mean, the
Mhm.
real thing you'd have to do is just, you know, stop doing that.
Mhm.
Find a shampoo conditioner that has, no harsh chemicals, no foaming agents, no like unnecessary additives. I mean, most shampoos and conditioners do have a pretty extensive list of ingredients because there are certain things that need to be there. But you want to find ones that are like the most natural you can get. And then you'll have oily hair for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, where your body works itself out, and then it's going to be great again.
Is there a frequency of the washing that can help with hair loss? Like, is it, not washing every day or
You know,
have you found any correlation with that?
I haven't found any correlation on that.
Okay.
Um, I haven't
Okay.
heard one where I think there's lots of opinions on it, and
Yep.
there's lots of different viewpoints on it for sure. And
Mhm.
I kind of feel like in that area, since I've never seen anything definitive, and
Yeah.
everyone's definitive is a problem. Everyone has the definitive viewpoint. I think people just need to figure out like what routine makes them look and feel the best. And really that's the approach they should take.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's get into a little misconception out there that, non-toxic natural products don't work.
Yeah.
Because that's huge. Let's debunk that a little bit. And then I want to talk a little bit more about your products and what makes them unique.
Sure.
And some of the feedback that you've gotten from, the customers that have used your products.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the reason why nowadays that philosophies has that concept is running around is a couple reasons. One is so many of the medications that we take today are made to mask symptoms, not to fix a problem.
Mhm.
So when someone gets sick and they go and they grab an over-the-counter drug or prescription or something like that, what it's actually doing is it's just killing the symptoms.
Mhm.
But the body still has that virus or that bacteria or whatever it is trying to fight off is still existing. So when somebody approaches something naturally, what you're doing is you're strengthening the elements of the body that will handle the situation on its own. So you're strengthening your immune system. You're boosting up those vitamins or those minerals in your body that are deficient, that's causing your body to function at a non-optimal condition, so the body can in turn take care of itself. And the reason why that's so important is because our bodies remember.
Mhm.
Our bodies remember what they do, and they remember their healing process. So if you have a cold, or you have a bacteria, you have a virus, okay, and you support the body's natural functions in fighting that off, what's going to happen is your body's going to develop an immunity to
Mhm.
that, and it's not earth-shattering. We're not talking like, oh, I'm never sick again. But whatever that particular element was that made you sick, your body's going to have an immunity to it.
Mhm.
It's like, I mean, it's kind of like you're getting vaccinated for every single illness that you've ever had when you let your body handle itself on its own, because it's developing that immunity
Mhm.
that can't be produced by anything, really.
Mhm.
I mean, there's lots of debates, studies, and stuff like that, but it just, nothing's going to beat your body's strength there. So it does take more patience, and I think it's a patience issue. Now, sure, over time, like, you see like old movies and there's someone selling something in a jar outside of their horse and buggy saying, drink this serum and you'll, I don't know, you'll you'll have 12 kids, So there is a history of like, someone showing you something in a little jar and,
Yeah.
drink this and, all your life's going to be better, boil this snake and you'll make, $500 instantly.
Mhm.
It's going to come to you. There's all kinds of things out there,
Mhm.
but I think the natural elements, they've been here for millions of years. We've been
Yeah.
using them to survive for millions of years. Nothing's really changed, but there's a patience issue, I think, involved.
Yeah.
Is
Totally
what
agree.
I'm thinking on that.
Totally agree. Yeah. And so, um, yeah, we were talking about that before we hit record, because I think a lot of people want results overnight, like in, a couple days, a week. And like we were talking, you said on average around 3 to 6 months, most of your customers see a change. Is that
Right.
correct?
Yeah. I mean, people will start to see, like, in that first month,
Mhm.
people will start to notice less shedding, and they'll
Okay.
start to notice that their hair just looks better.
Mhm.
They'll catch glimpses of themselves in the mirror and be like, "Hey, I'm having a good hair day." And that will happen more frequently. That's something that people do notice right away. But you're not going to see like the real change you're looking for, or the
Mhm.
beginnings of that real change,
Mhm.
until that 3 to 6 month mark, generally speaking, because it's a healing property.
Mhm.
We're getting we don't want you dependent on our products for life. We don't want your body to be dependent on a drug to get a result, so so it takes a little time. It takes a little bit more time.
Have you ever had someone use it preventatively? Like, a woman
Yes.
like going towards menopause, she's fearful of hair loss, so she hops on your products. Maybe she cycles your products. I mean, is that even a good idea to
Yeah.
6 months on, 6 months off kind of
Well,
picture?
that's what we suggest when people take the preventative approach.
Okay.
We mainly have men doing that,
Yep.
just more men than women doing it. Because a woman might not lose her hair during menopause. You know what I mean? It doesn't
Yep.
happen to everybody, so a lot of women in that scenario will tend to wait to see what happens. A man, like men in their like late 20s, who know it's coming, they kind of sense it, their whole family's there, they're starting to thin, they will get on a preventative program. And we just have them on a light program. We don't,
Gotcha.
we're not like, you have to like, go hardcore, for a year, and then taper off to a smaller program. And a lot of people do that though. A lot of people will get on, especially if there's been extensive damage, it'll be like a year. They'll have to do it for a year.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. And then at that point, they either stop and then revisit it, a little smaller, like kind of a buffer program down the road for not too long,
Yep.
or they, will stop or just cut the program in half going forward. It's really kind of based on individual progress and results and what you're looking to achieve. But the thing is, though, that's important is that with like a minoxidil, when people see results with if people are going to see a result with minoxidil, it's because what's happening is minoxidil is a stimulant. It's going to force the blood to the follicle. That's all it's doing. It's just forcing the blood past the DHT buildup into the follicle. Now, if it works, that's why it's working. However, what happens is it's the blood that's doing that. I mean, it's the drug that's doing that. So the second you stop, all those results go away because the blood stops going to the follicle again. So you lose everything instantly. And then you're also risking the potential side effects that come with, drugs.
I'm glad you brought that up, because my next question is, why are stem cells better than traditional meds for hair loss, like finasteride or minoxidil?
Well, there's no side effects. And it's a whole new approach, though. That's the thing. It's a whole new approach. Like, this is very new. This science is so new. It hasn't existed before. We are the first company to introduce the topical application of stem cells for thinning hair. There's been some popping up since, but we were the first to really jump into this area because it's so exciting. I mean, stem cells, I mean, they adapt and they just rebuild, and they're real. It's very exciting technology.
What are stem cells? Because I think, in case the listeners don't know, what are they?
They're like adaptogens, kind of. So what they do is they can change to any environment in the body and sort of create new cells within that environment. And there's different stem cells have different approaches. Like, we're not using the stem cells that they're using to build hearts or anything like that, or build lungs or replace bone marrow. Like, there's some incredible things that people are discovering with this. We're not using those. Our stem cells are all very simple and very basic, but they produce results in the hair, which is why we found them and why we're using them.
And that's really what got when I looked at your site and your products, because they're not your $20 bottle of shampoo. Just going to put it out there. Like, they're a little bit more costly, which I knew they had to be good then. Sad to say, but I was like, there's got to be something in it. And I saw stem cells and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I suddenly, my excitement level, I was already excited to talk to you, but like, wow, like you're going there. Like, this is amazing.
Well, two things. They're not the controversial stem cells.
No.
Just because some people probably hearing it like stem cell, they think stem cells, but they're not those stem cells.
No.
And when we were making the product, it was kind of, we were looking at results. We weren't looking at price, which was not a great business move, But we were in the initial development phase, we were just concentrating on results, not price. So we're like, well, how do we make the best product? And then when it came down to actually, okay, we did it. Now, how do we make this so that people can afford it and it can support a staff and a company in a ways that marketing and shipping and, to
All of it.
support all the things that a company needs to support.
Yep.
So we really do price it as low as we can. We really do, because we recognize it is more expensive, but also there's no lifetime usage and it gets really good results,
Can you
So
list again, like the heavy hitters in it, like aside from stem cells? You said amino acids, like
amino acids, peptide complexes, probiotics, and then there's tons of other botanical extracts and botanical nutrients in it as well.
I love that. And, hyaluronic acid. So like,
Hyaluronic acid as
right.
well.
So like,
Yeah.
So this is chock full of like potent,
Oh yeah,
effective.
It is packed. We, growing up, whenever we'd make shakes were always like, what's in the fridge? Let's put that in. Let's put that in. Let's put that in. Oh, let's put extra of that in. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how we've always done things. And we took that same approach to making this product.
And I just want to sort of circle back to the preventative. Do you think, speaking of vanity metric regarding women in hair, do you have customers that actually come and they want more voluminous or luscious hair, what have you, like to use your product to try to get that end result of like, maybe they're not experiencing hair loss, but they want healthier, more, I don't know, voluptuous hair?
We absolutely do. However, here's the thing on it though, just to be, honest with you. Our products are expensive, so a lot of times people don't come to us. People aren't willing to spend that money just for that. Usually they're willing to spend the money when there's a problem, a specific problem they're trying to solve, not necessarily, oh, I just want my hair thicker and fuller and more volume and, healthy and bouncy, which we are great at helping with that. Right. But that's not really where people, when people want to spend the type of money that they're gonna, be spending like $100+,
on one product,
on one product, generally they'll go buy a nice shampoo for, $40 or $30 or something, something like that. But we do have a handful of clients that just use it because they just want it to look great, and they can afford to do that. And we're like, great, we'll help you because we're happy. We're happy that people are happy and getting results and feeling good about themselves. Because ultimately that's the whole point. Is we want people to feel great about themselves and who they are and what they're doing, and we don't want people thinking about their hair. You should never. Our goal is to have you not care about your hair. Once you fix it in the morning, you shouldn't care about it, because we don't want people to have their attention on themselves. We want people to have their attention out in the world, on their friends, on their family, on their groups, on their churches, on society, on their pets, on whatever. We want people to have their attention out, because when you have your attention off your body and your attention out into the world, then you're not only going to have more fun in life, you're going to attract better quality of people and friends into your life, and you're going to be more successful because you're going to be more game to try things and get out there and put yourself out and take risks and communicate when you're not thinking about yourself. So if we can help people get their attention off their bodies and back out into the world, it's going to be great. Because, I think people are good. I think the majority of people are good. There's a couple bad apples out there, but for the most part, the majority of people are good. And so the stronger we can help make somebody, the better impact they're going to have on the world and their friends and their groups. And that's just going to ripple out, into making a better society and a better place, and which is ultimately our goal. And this is somewhere where we can contribute. It's not the big, it's not the big ball of wax, but it's somewhere where we can contribute. And I do thoroughly believe that the physical does affect the mental. There is something to be said. Like vanity is considered a bad word, but it's not. Being a jerk's a bad word. Don't be a jerk, but you can have a healthy sense of vanity, and
Yeah.
that's okay, because when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you put on that like killer dress or that cool jacket, and you're like, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
ready. It's happening. It's on. And that's nothing. That's just the physical
Mhm.
affecting the mental, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's what we want. We want people to be able to look at themselves and be like, yes. And you know what though? The thing is they don't even have to have that end result yet. Just knowing that there's a situation that you don't like in
Mhm.
your appearance and your body, and you're taking actions
Yeah.
to fix it, those actions are enough to give you that confidence. Because
Mhm.
when I go to the gym, and I work out for an hour, I'm like, oh yeah, I still have that. I still have my belly. You know what I mean? My six pack's not breaking through yet, but just that hour, knowing that like, oh yeah, I just did that. It gives
Mhm.
you that extra like, I look good, even though I look the same as I looked, an hour ago. I'm like, oh yeah, it's happening.
I
Because I
love
took
that.
I took that action,
Yeah.
and that action put me in the position of like I'm moving in the right direction.
Yep. Yep. I love that. And we'll wrap up with one final question, but what I just want to add here is like in your introduction of who you are,
Huh?
you used to be an actor and a writer,
Yeah,
is that correct?
yeah, yeah.
And
I
now look at you talking about hair and research
well,
and
it's just fun. It's just
yeah.
fun. That's the only reason why I do it. It's fun. I live in Los Angeles. I grew up in Los Angeles. I was always around it, and it was always kind of there. And it
Mhm.
was something that I could do for fun. It wasn't. It
Mhm.
was. You know, the goal is to make the world a better place. The
Mhm.
goal is like, how can I, what value can I put out there? How can I effectively help people?
Mhm.
What can I do? And when we came across this, we realized, oh, this is a really, this is Bible. Like I can really
Mhm.
help people, and I can really influence people, change people,
Yeah.
in a positive fashion. And that's really what the goal is. The acting's fun, it's
You're
fun.
still changing lives with acting. You're
It's it.
entertaining, right?
No, no, absolutely. It's hey, art is one of the most important things in the world.
Yep.
Art changes societies. I mean,
Mhm.
period. It does. So, but for me, it's just fun. It's just a fun thing to
You're
do.
very dynamic. So I'm sure you were very good at acting. And look at you now and talking about hair. So like it's just
Sure. Yeah.
amazing. And I have to say, like, I just was so excited to talk to you today because you're on the cutting edge of this field.
Yeah.
And it's just going to evolve. And I think obviously the more research you do and perfecting products, and I'm sure they're going to morph over the years to come as more research comes out about hair and hair
Yeah.
loss, I think. But you're pioneering the way. So there's an option out there for those that don't want the prescription medications and having to use them long term. So
Right.
congratulations on that, and thank you for
And
doing
you
what
know
you're
what?
doing.
And like I said, it works. It's a
Yep,
good product. The thing is, like, it's not going to work if somebody's you know, has dead follicles. That's not
yep.
going to help. It won't help with that. And it's not 100%, but it's the best thing that's out there right
Mhm,
now.
mhm,
We're still trying to evolve. I'm still
mhm.
trying to figure out how do we get better? How do we
Yep,
get better? We're
yep,
at a great spot. And like I said, I feel like it's better than anything on the market right now, but I still want it to be better.
yeah.
I still want it to be better.
Well, so new and improved coming out, but it's good as it is
Yeah,
now. So like,
yeah.
you wouldn't have released it to the world if it wasn't getting results.
No,
And
no, definitely
you
not.
can never make guarantees it's going to be for 100% for everyone, but
Yeah.
I was actually on your site, looking through testimonials and such, and you have a really great website. There's a nice blog there. And again, if you're skeptical, go to his website and take a look at what other people are saying. Like, don't
Oh,
take it from us, right?
yeah, there is one thing though on the website morehairnaturally.com. I put phone numbers
Mhm.
on the top bottom of almost every page. There's a phone number, and the reason the phone number is there is because I have a team here who's very well versed in hair
Mhm.
loss,
Mm.
and their whole purpose is to talk to people about what's going on with their hair, help them
Mm.
track down the root cause of their hair, answer any questions or address any sort of
Wow.
insecurities or problems they might be having. And to help them feel like there's hope. That maybe it's diet, they suggest diet, they can suggest, pick out stress things, they can help environmental things, but that's why we're here. Like there's a whole team. So if somebody just wants to call and chat, they can do that as
Wow.
well, because it's not, you don't have to buy anything. You can call and just talk about your hair and figure out what's going on. And of course, if we think we can help, we will offer our products,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
But
But
but the
I love
point is
that.
to help give you security, help people give security to
Yep.
know that, understand specifically what might be happening to them,
Yep.
and then pose solutions that they can address that issue.
I love that. I love that. And that way you also kind of weed out those people where you don't think your products will help, will work for, right?
It's so
Like,
important. We need to set up realistic expectations. If somebody
yeah.
is, if a man calls, he's been shiny bald for 50 years, we can't help, What's funny, some people still want to try it. And we're like,
Mm,
we can't, the follicles are dead. It's not going to work. Well, let me try it. We're like, okay, you can, but and then
yeah.
also we check in. We like to check in with people too,
Yeah.
because we want to make sure people succeed. So, some people don't like to talk on the phone, and that's fine, like just to go by, and that's okay, But if people are inclined to, talk on the phone, we will call. We will call just a check-in. Like that's part of what I have them do. Like, hey, check in with this person, make sure they're getting the results that they're looking for. And if they're not, we got to figure out what's happening so we can make sure they do get the results. Because a lot of times it's a simple application issue, or there's something off, and because we want people to succeed, because we don't. That's what we want. That's why we're here, is to change people's lives and to make it better. And so that's why we're aggressive and like, how you doing? What's happening? Are you getting those results? You
Mhm.
know,
I love that high touch feel because, you're just not another number out there just buying a product. It's like if you really need the
right.
help, you call and you get the help. So
Yeah,
that is so unique to your company that I don't think I've ever heard from another company before. No, I don't care how big or how small. Like I just don't hear that anymore.
right.
Usually it's customer service, handling grievances, not like let's
Yeah,
be proactive and like call us with questions and like let us really help you with or
yeah,
without a product involved. So that's
right.
so good. Final question back to
Yeah,
you, because I think we've hopefully solved all the hair loss problems out there.
hopefully, yeah.
Um, what is one thing you know now that you wish you knew 5, 10, 15 years ago?
That's a good question, and it's always changing, because
Mhm,
I want to do better in life.
mhm,
I
mhm,
always want to do better, and so I'm always like listening to audiobooks or
mhm,
lectures. I mean, I spend a lot of time in the car or like at home. I have kids too, so like I'll get up and I'm like washing dishes or making breakfast. Now, if everyone's still sleeping, I always have
yep,
someone talking in my ear about
mhm,
something. So I'm always learning. I'm always learning things that I wish I knew. One of the things I wish that like I got early on was the importance of making a decision,
mm,
taking an action on that decision.
mhm,
Because like, I mean, Roosevelt said the very best choice you can make is the right choice.
mm,
The next very best choice you can make is the wrong choice. And the
mm,
worst choice, the worst thing you could possibly do is nothing. So he called the best thing and the next best thing the right choice and the wrong choice.
mm,
And there is something about having a thought and acting on it
mm,
immediately,
mhm,
because we're so smart.
mhm,
We know what to do, but a lot of times we hear it and then we ignore it. We hear
mhm,
it, we talk ourselves out of it. We
mhm,
hear it and we're like, nah. I mean, the most obvious case that everyone's experienced of this is in like the dating years,
mhm.
you know, where you meet that person and you're like, this is bad. But they're beautiful or handsome, you know? And
Yeah.
then like 4 months later, 5 months later, it's awful. And you think, I knew it on day one, you
Mhm.
know? But that mechanism is in every single thing that we do.
That's our
It's in
intuition.
every it's in everything. And
Yep.
we talk ourselves out of it. We don't do it. So I wish I would have acted, had that sensibility. And I'm still teaching myself to do it, you
Mhm.
know? but had that sensibility to have a thought and act on it, regardless of if it's scary or nerve-wracking or takes me into the unknown. Just do it. Especially, I wish I did it when I didn't have so much at stake. Especially when I didn't have the family, when I didn't have like the responsibility of a staff or a company, or when I didn't have any real, like, anybody really depending on me, and it was just me out there. Like that's when I really wish I had that information, but I have it now, and I'm doing the best to remind myself every day to listen to that.
I love that. So good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that intuitive hit you get that so many people poo-poo because it's like,
Yeah.
really? Like, listen to it because and I agree. It's something I wish I had honed in on a long, long time ago. Like now I listen all the time. So you never know if you think it's the right decision because
Yeah.
nothing bad is happening. But
And
yeah, I
sometimes you
totally
can't
agree.
explain it too. Like there's somebody who everybody loves, but for some reason you just get a bad taste.
Hmm.
But everyone loves that person, and they're a great person on paper. They're great, and people are like, "Why would you say that?" You're like, "Something, I don't know, something.
Yeah.
There's something," and that just has to be like, you just have to listen.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I love that. So good. So my audience is going to be like, okay, where can we find you? I know you mentioned your website before.
yeah,
So if we could just mention that again, do you have social media? Are you on social media? Like, where can they
yeah.
find you and take a look at
Well,
your products?
the best place is morehairnaturally.com. They can buy there or they can call, and
Hmm.
whichever they prefer, whatever is easiest and they like doing. That's really the best place. We're on all the socials. We're everywhere. It's More Hair Naturally, on like Facebook, Twitter, and all of them, Pinterest, YouTube. But really that's our website's very active. We're constantly putting up new blogs.
Hmm.
We're constantly adding stuff and tweaking stuff and making stuff more specific and more easy to understand, and so it's that's really the best place.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. And we'll make sure all your links are in the show notes or
Okay.
linked on my website so they can easily click away and come find you. So
Yeah, awesome.
thank you so much. This was a great conversation. I think everyone's learned so much. Thank you for like bringing it down for us as far as like the science, because I think a lot of times experts talk over people's heads and then they shut down
Yeah,
because they don't understand. So I just love
totally.
how you just simplified the concept and made it super easy for us all to understand. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Real Heal and that you learned something new. And with that, I'm out of here. Talk to you again soon.